Landscape designers using software such as gCADPlus need symbol sets. gCADPlus has several. Let's concentrate on the library set that we refer to as standard. So if I go, in this case, to the library, then to plants, and then to standard, I get a list of symbols here that I can scroll through just using, in this case, the arrow key, down arrow key on my keyboard. You can open that and bring that into the design. So let's pick this particular one. There's already one in there. Do we want to redefine it? Well, we'll say, no, that's this one here. Let's pick a different one. I'll scroll down the list here just by clicking. Let's go back to that one, and we'll say we'll open it and insert it into the drawing. So we're bringing the symbol from the standard library. This window box pops up, dialog box. We can set the scale as it brings in. We're going to say insertion point. We'll specify it on the screen, which is logical. We won't rotate it, although these options do exist. But I want to illustrate that if you bring a symbol from that library, let's pop it down here, it goes in very easily. If I select the symbol, there's a group in the center, and if I use the distance tool and measure from one side to the other, that's very nearly 1,000 units or a meter. I happen to be in the metric area here, but there's a similar set of symbols if you're working in the Imperial or USA system. So we brought a new symbol in, and each of these symbols has an underlying marker for a team of installers. And let's illustrate by going to the layers here, and I'll go to the layer states manager, and I've saved this layer state. I'll restore it, and you'll see the symbols automatically change for a marker for the installers. This one and this one down here are symbols in that same set for existing species. If we look over here, this one, the block or symbol is called existing 3, and this one is existing 4. So there are a number of those early ones in the library. But the key issue here is, in a sense, the construction team can come along and use this and plant species. They will, of course, be labeled. And if I pick this one here and look in the properties box, this one is specified to be a particular callistemum species, and this one's been tagged as a xanthorrhea. And there's some loose correlation between the appearance of the symbol and the species. But the team just needs a text label that will correspond with the plant schedule. And to do that, we can go and apply a code to the center of each of all selected symbols. So it was this one and this one, and hit enter. The height. If you look down here, we're being asked, the prompt says height. Let's type 150 units, and we hit enter. I'll change my background color to black. You should be able to see now that each of those two symbols have been tagged, and the system has dragged the code Xanthorrhea semiplana XA, the first two characters of the species of the generic name, and then the first two characters of the species name, and that information comes from an attached data file. And if I say I'm going to edit it now, there we are. So I hope I've demonstrated reasonably well. Let's go back here to the property manager again, and we'll put the base set on, and we'll restore it and close, and there we are. We do things like this symbol here has transparency associated with it, so we can edit it, and the transparency there is 100, and you might argue that was a too dark a color. Let's make it 75 and close the block editor, and we might go back to view a white background as though it might appear when printed. So we can introduce rotation easily, spin that one around, change its size by right-clicking and make it a little larger. We can move this, because it's an existing tree, we can move that to the front. This one here had some shadowing applied to it and so on. So I hope that gives you some information about how to handle and use these symbols in the standard set in gCADPlus. We try and improve those symbols, make them more graphically rich each time we release a new version of gCADPlus, and we love it when users send us copies of symbols that they've made